So the brief was to create a beautiful swimming pond that would sort of merge into the surrounding landscape. And I think it's probably one of the most idyllic sites I've stepped onto. Lovely lush green grass that rolled downhill to a lovely river that sort of meandered across the bottom of the field. The biggest challenge was actually the pool. So the pool, because it's got to look really low-key and natural, it's a swimming pond, doesn't have any concrete construction, and that is really hard to design. So we have to, rather than just drawing an outline, I've actually started with the swim zone, the length our client wants to swim, and the depth he wants to swim at. And then we have to profile back, instead of having, upright concrete walls to retain the swim zone, we have to angle the earth walls. So we're sculpting that pool out of the ground rather than building it. To get to this outline, I had to go right to the beginning, work out the flat section, the angled sections, the flat bit on top, and literally go backwards and back out. So that's all thought about in 3D. So it's not a top-down design, it's very much a 3D design that you're seeing in 2D. And if you notice, all our trees are on the northeast. That means that we don't have the leaf drop problem in the pool because the prevailing wind's coming from the southwest. So that defines really how we've gone about technically making this project work for the water. If we look at this version here, so I've gone into a bit more detail. This isn't even the final version, but we've gone into a bit more detail. It's a bit neater, but you can still see the flow through the meadows and the movement around the pool. So that would be a concept plan that we would then scan in, and we'd start to pick it up on the computer. Catherine's imported this into SketchUp program, and she's drawn over the plan in 2D. So we've now got plan view top down of the site scale. Once Catherine's drawn this up in 2D, Hannah usually renders it. So we'll do a really beautiful colour concept plan for our clients. We would hand this to our client now at this stage, along with the mood boards that Hannah's produced. And this really gives a good indication of how the project's going to look. But we'll also model the entire landscape as well in 3D, and that's really lovely because we can see how the landscape's forming and how it changes and how we might have to retain sections. So things like, to get to that 3D plan, we have to go back to the drawing board and work out all the levels, and that's quite a complicated process. Literally, we're working out levels and working on a calculator, doing the fall and sections. The pool's obviously a massive part of this project. It's the centrepiece and it's the biggest construction element of this project. This is the deck. Now this is the underdeck frame, and you can see we've got the hatches in position over the filters. This model, not only is it done to scale in SketchUp now, but Catherine will also send that to the total station, and he uses that to set out the drawing and the construction. And the entire pool is excavated with the aid of this total station, which is essentially a very clever laser level that reads from the construction plans. So we're choosing the materials for the pool as well and the wall, and we've sourced this beautiful pink sandstone which comes from a quarry in the Forest of Dean, and it's this lovely band of pink sandstone that runs down the west of the country, and that's going to be used in the retaining wall here. And we've also found local gravel in different grades. So we've got the fine filtration gravel, that's a 10mm actually, isn't it, for around the pathways. We've got the filter gravel for the beach, which is also the same pink Staffordshire gravel. And we've got different grades in 20mm, 40, 60mm, and finally larger cobbles. So we can create a lovely pattern of different sizes of cobbles around the pool. This is a ash. It's thermally treated. It's a byproduct, obviously a lot of ash dieback in the UK at the moment. So it's a UK product, and it's very stable, is a good slip resistant, and we use this in our pools a lot now, and that's going to be used on the deck. It'll go a lovely silver colour and just blend into the background. So yeah, really happy with the choice of materials. Wow, what the favourite part for me? Planting design. I love planting design. That's above everything. That's my happy place. Putting the trees in and the planting design. and choosing the seeding mixes for the meadows and just seeing how they'll all work together. But before I start to put any plants in, I just basically do quite a lot of research. We'll test the soil, we'll analyse it. We've dug up samples, we've been on site a lot. So we understand the soil, and we just draw up lists of plants that will work in these different areas. I'll start to group these into the areas under the trees, the areas in the meadow, and then I'll have accent perennials that will come up through the base layer. So it's just a series of planting lists that works together. So I think that's my final choice. And all the design work is done to work with the site levels, but also to bring nature, bring wildlife in. So the water plants, the marginals, a lot of those will be dotted around the meadow, and they're all pollinator friendly. The trees, a lot of them are natives, most are natives, so they'll encourage insects and they'll increase biodiversity. And obviously the pool will attract a lot of wildlife. So the whole site is just going to come alive. Give it a year after we finish, it'll just be amazing.